Shalom. In this new lesson on the Kabbalah concept, we are going to talk about an important concept in the Kabbalah, which is called Shevirat HaKelim, which means the breaking of the vessel. Now, in our last course, we talked about the Sefirot, a different type of Sefirot, and also a little bit about Pasufim, I think. And we saw, just to remind the audience a little bit, is that we saw that Sefirot are the different type of filters that translate the energies of God into different qualities that we see in our world and also in the world above us. Now, when this Sefirot came out, there was a certain order, if we want, okay? An order from the beginning of their coming out of what we call the configuration of Adam Kadmon until the complete coming out, if we want, with as we know them today, as the action and the guidance that is translated in today. Fine. So, when these energies came out from this configuration of Adam Kadmon, they came out different ways. And which one of the ways that is explained by the Kabbalah is how these energies came out from the eyes of Adam Kadmon. Now, of course, when we say eyes, we're not talking about physical eyes, we're talking about a concept, a spiritual concept of eyes above. So this Sefirot came out from the eyes of Adam Kadmon, and since the Sephirah is composed of two things, what we call a Keli, which means a recipient, and also Or, the light that goes inside this recipient, of course, the spiritual recipient. There are 10 Sephirot, so the 10 Kelim, so the 10 recipients came out first. And the lights for each one of the Sephirot came afterwards. Now, the three first light that came in the three first Sefirot of Keter, Chochmah, Ubina, which is the top three Sefirot, came inside the Kelim, the recipient, and the recipient were able to hold their lights. When the 7 other lights, after the three first one, came down and wanted to enter their respective recipient Kelim, these Kelim recipients were not able to hold those lights. Their lights were too strong for the power of holding of their recipients, and the recipients broke and fell down. This is what we call the breaking of the recipients and the Shevirat HaKelim in Hebrew. Now, when these recipients broke, they came down to the lower world of Beriah. Because at first they were in the Olam of Atzilut, which is the world of emanation, and then the second world, the world of Beriah, which is the world of the Neshamot, the world of the souls. This is where these recipients, again the spiritual recipients of the Sefirot, came down. So now we have a separation in two worlds. The lights of the 7 Sefirot in one world of Atzilut, and there are 7 recipients in another world, the world of Beriah, lower world. So they were separated. Now, these recipients needed to have a contact with their lights to be able to survive, or else they would have fell even lower and maybe just explode and disappear. So what happened is that sparks of these lights that stayed in the world above of Atzilut came down to this world of Beriah and made a contact, if you want, between the lights and the recipients. Now, these sparks are what we call the Rapar in Tusot, which means 288 sparks, 288 main sparks, which divide and subdivide, of course, many. Now, when the sparks came down, some stayed in this second world of Olam Beriah, world of creation, world of the souls, but some fell even lower to the two other lower worlds, which is the Yetzirah and Asiyah formation, which is the world of the angels, and Asiya, which is our own world here of the action, and even to the lower negative worlds. So, we see one world of Atzilut, the pure light of the Sefirot. Second world of Beriah, the recipient, spiritual recipient of these lights. And in the third and fourth positive world, we see also sparks that fell to these two worlds. And in the four negative world, which is like a reproduction of what we have in the higher, between the four positive world, the four negative world receive also this part of holiness. Now, why is the Shevirat HaKelim, the breaking of the vessels, such an important concept in the Kabbalah? For two reasons. The first reason is that we can just ask ourselves a question. Why did it have to be a damage? God could have created everything perfect at first. Why did it need to be light, stronger than the recipients, and the recipients had to break? Why was it not perfect from the start? And the second question is, now that these sparks of light have fallen to the lower worlds, what do we do about it? What is our role in the tikkun, in the reparation of this? So to answer the first question, is God in His bounty, in His immense bounty, could have created the world perfect with no damage from the start, for sure. But then there would not have been any type of merit for us. There would have been like an automatic type of drive, which means everything is perfect. We here, we're enjoying. Fine, but there's no difference between me and somebody else, and you and whoever. We're all the same, like angels, with really no power to decide, no power to choose. We live inside this atmosphere of holiness, and we are just going with it, with no free choice. Now God, in His bounty, wanted to give us a merit. And the only way to give us a merit is by giving us free choice. And our free choice comes from this situation of damage. Because these fallen sparks, which came down to the negative world, are the ones that give a possibility of existence to evil. That's why there is evil in the world and bad things that happen, because this manifestation of the negative have their source of light from these sparks of holiness that they grabbed, and they take their liveliness from them. Our role is to do something. That's why we're here. Now, if Hashem would have made everything perfect, there would have been nothing to repair, no tikkun to do. So our role would have been what? Just to be here. That's it. And enjoy. Okay? No action, nothing to do, nothing to understand, nothing to search. It's just everything is there, everything's perfect. No headache, like we say. But why, and that's why we get to our second question, what is our role, is God, by giving us all the mitzvot of the Torah, by allowing us to pray, by allowing us to do good deeds and good things around us, gave us this very, very special power to elevate one more time these sparks of holiness from where they had fallen very deep, and to elevate one by one, day by day, year after year, and to elevate them and get them back where they were supposed to be. Now, when there was a separation of the Sefirot and the light between Olam Atzilut and Olam Beriah, the Sefirot did go up. They did reunite with their light, but the sparks, no, not completely. Some sparks came up, but the others fell, and some fell even lower and kept on falling and falling and falling. So it is to give us this opportunity and this chance to elevate the sparks of holiness that we are asked to do all that is written in our Torah, all the good deeds that we are supposed to do with people around us, how to behave, how to act, how to have cleanliness in our minds, in our bodies. All these things puts us in a state of purity that gives us the power to act and to elevate the sparks. One more time. Now, it is important to understand that there is also opposite, which means every time we do negative things, and every time we don't do what we are supposed to do, we do give force to these negative energies to hold even more on these positive sparks and get them even lower. So as we see, the Shvirat HaKelim, the breaking of the vessels, it's two main points that we have to really grasp, to understand. The first was to allow a certain, we'll say, damage to exist, so we can have the merit to repair. And the second is to give us free choice. And free choice is very important. Maybe sometimes we don't realize it, and we even sometimes have a hard time to understand what it means to have free choice. But without free choice, there will be no freedom, and there will be no merit. The angels in Olam HaYetzirah have no free choice because they are so close to the holiness, so close to the light and the purity of the light of Hashem, of God, that they cannot do otherwise than just do what they are supposed to do. Imagine if somebody did a bad deed and something will come out of his face, or it will act not nice and a part of his ear will fall out or whatever. I'm just giving stupid examples. But if we knew and understood the outcomes of everything that we do, there will be no more free choice. Right? But since we don't, and we think and we believe that we're doing good for one reason, is to do what God asks us to do and to obey His commandments, by going into the positive side of this free choice, we get the merit, and not only the merit to get higher once we do get to this high world after we pass away from this existence, but also to repair and to bring back the sparks of holiness. So it will be the time of the Mashiach to come, will be the time of the complete tikkun, which we call the tikkun ha'olam, the world, tikkun of all this existing of this old world, and there will be no more death, there will be no more sickness, and the light of Hashem will be all over. Everybody will be able to see it, everybody will be able to almost to touch it, to feel it, and this knowledge, the secret of the Kabbalah, and all the secrets of God will be revealed much more to everybody. The only difference will be that people that start now, when it's still not very clear, and try to understand, but of course have more merit than people that will just receive some after, and maybe the levels of receiving will be also different. So this is the Shvirat HaKelim, the breaking of the vessels. In the next course we will talk more about other concepts of the Kabbalah. Shalom.